morning. Today is Tuesday, September 16th, 2025, and I'm back to do another writing vlog. If you're new to me, my name is Jenna Wolfhard, and I'm an indie author of romantasy, both cozy and epic, and paranormal romance. So today I need to do some writing sprints. Unlike my usual 2K words, today my goal is 3,000 words on Project Villains. And the reason for this is because yesterday did not go as planned. Unfortunately, my dog is a bit unwell at the moment, and so I was very distracted by that yesterday, and I needed to take him to the vet's, which is about half an hour away from our house. And so I got around 500 words done, which is less than, obviously it's less than the 2,000 words that I had planned. So I'm going to try to make up a little bit for that. And I'm going to try to do that with writing sprints where I focus for 20 minutes and then 10 minutes I have to get up, get another cup of coffee, or do a little admin because I still have admin tasks and my regular marketing that needs to get done today. So I'm gonna go for the writing sprint technique, which usually does work for me. I could take an alternative approach and be like, I will just write all day long until I get the words and all the work done today. But I don't like to do that because a couple of years ago and for a few years prior to that, I was not great with work-life balance, and I got a lot more written and I released a lot more books per year, but it really took a toll on me and I really hit burnout a couple of times, and it's a terrible feeling. And so now I'm really protective of my routine and schedule, and I like to have a normal work routine. I like to, now it's almost 9 o'clock. I want to finish by 5, have a normal working day, and I'm not working late, and I'm not trying to make up for things on the weekend so that I can spend time with my husband, take my dogs for longer walks, and have a normal social life outside of just writing, which can be a really big temptation because I am definitely sort of an obsessive person. And when I get really into something creative, I think about it all the time. I want to be working on it all the time. I think a lot of people who do creative work are the same. We just get wrapped up in the project and want to be working on it all the time. But it's not good for me to be doing that. I need to have things outside of writing or I burn out. And I don't want to burn out because I love doing this and I want to be doing it for the rest of my life, and I won't do that if I just run myself into the ground. So, on that note, I am going to make myself a coffee and get set up for my sprints and get started on my 3,000 words for the day. So what I'm working on now is a book called Project Villains. It is a dystopian romantasy. So it is set in a fantasy world, but it's very much a dystopian story. And I'm currently waiting on edits for another project, so I'm trying to get as much done on this book as I can before those come in. Technically, this is the second draft of the book because I wrote a lot on the first draft and then realized that I had gone in the completely wrong direction. It was not doing what I wanted it to do. It wasn't telling the story that I wanted to tell, so that the beginning was exactly what I wanted. And then it just sort of veered off course. I went from telling a dystopian story to something else, and I didn't like it. So I did like some of the later chapters, but it was sort of the bit in the middle where I got from the beginning to the later chapters that I was just like, this is all wrong. And I wanted to introduce some other elements to the story that just weren't there. So I did what every writer hates to do. I deleted a whole bunch of words. So now I've gone back and I've been filling in those chapters and writing those new chapters, and I am loving them. Like, I am so glad I did this, even though it's created more work for myself. Like, it is such a better story and it is exciting. So currently I am at 25,109 words on the second draft. I do have some later chapters that I'm obviously gonna put back in, and I probably will have to significantly revise them to account for the changes that I've made earlier, but we'll worry about that when we get to it. I'm not gonna think about that right now. I'm not counting those words. Right now I'm at 25K. So I'm gonna try to get to 28,000 by the end of today, and I'm gonna use this cool little machine. It's a little analog clock, and you can set, I'm gonna set it to 20, and then I'm gonna set this one to 10 and do some pomodoro sprints. Yeah, I really like this instead of using like the computer or my phone, because I don't know, I like little gadgets. So I'm gonna do that now and be back in a little while, and we'll see how I get on. So it's about an hour later, and I have done 797 words, which means I'm now at 25,906 for this draft. The scene is being a little bit slow going. Sometimes I can write much faster than that, but right now I am really having to think through these new scenes that I have decided to write for this portion of the book. So what I'm hoping here is that if I do 3 more hours of writing work, so I'm gonna do it in 1 hour chunks. I'm gonna do another 2 pomodoros, and then I'll take a break for lunch, and then I'll do 2 more after lunch, and I'm hoping that will get me to the 3,000 words for today, and that would mean that I have almost caught up from yesterday, and then tomorrow I can do 2,500 to get that extra 500 done, and then I will be all caught up, because I would really like to get 10,000 words written this week. I'm not sure when my edits are going to come in, but it should be any day now. If I could have a solid writing week this week and get to the book to, where would that be then? I think that would bring it around 35,000 words for the second draft if I got 10,000 words in total done this week. That's a really solid chunk of the book in second draft form if I could get to 35,000 words before my edits come in. So I'm gonna go ahead and get 2 more pomodoros done before lunch. I'm really hoping that will get me halfway to the daily goal. So if I could get to 1,500 words by lunch, I would be really happy with that. Let's go. I'm gonna be totally honest, I did 1 pomodoro sprint, and then in the 5-minute break I started doing some admin and marketing, and then didn't stop when the 5 minutes was up. Whoops, I didn't do both sprints. I'm up to 1,258 words for the day, and you know what, that's okay. That is nearly halfway to the 3,000, and if I look at it as my usual 2,000 words a day, I'm really close to hitting that. I'm actually really hungry now, so I'm gonna go ahead and make my lunch and take the dogs outside because they need some fresh air, and I need some fresh air. I needed to get my head back in the game. And you know what? Sometimes that just happens. Just an honest, realistic writing day. Sometimes I get distracted by the other tasks that I need to do. Since I'm an indie author, I do all of it myself. It's really easy to be like, oh, let me answer some emails, let me do some graphics for Instagram, let me make my TikTok post. Not making excuses, just being real and saying, yeah, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So after lunch, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm not allowed to do any marketing stuff until I have at least hit 2,000 words. And then I really want to try to get to the 3,000 word goal. So I have decided to move into the living room for the afternoon, frankly, because I'm cold. And I feel like being cozy on the sofa with a blanket and my laptop. I got myself a cup of emergency coffee and water. If you hear heavy breathing, it's my poor dog who doesn't feel well. He's not happy. He has a cone on, and so he's panting, poor thing. That's another reason why I want to sit in here, because his bed's in here and he can be nice and comfy, and I can keep an eye on him because he can't get to the wound, and he has gotten out of his cone already several times, so I have to keep an eye on him. Anyway, I'm hoping that this scene is right, and I'm really probably only going to find out if it's right if I try to get it down. I just hate deleting words. We'll find out. It's a really important scene, and I really think this is the direction that these characters need to go in, but I don't know. Sometimes the process of writing is putting the wrong things on the page, realizing it's not any good, and then deleting the words. I hate deleting big chunks of words, and I've already done it once for this book, but this book is important to me, and I want to make sure I get it right. He's a good boy. No, I'm so sorry, Nero. Hello, hello, hello. So, it is now 1:39 p.m. and I am at 2,315 words for the day, which is great because my normal goal is 2,000, so I'm over that. And I definitely think I can hit the 3K word goal. I mean, it's only 1:30, so I've got plenty of time. I do want to take a bit of a break because this is a heavy scene, and I'm feeling a bit like I need a break from it. So I'm going to take a break and do some admin and marketing. I know earlier I was like, I got to focus, and I accidentally went off path, but I don't know. I need a break. Sometimes I need to step away from the book for a few minutes and do something else because it's not going to be productive for me to just sit here staring at the page. And since I only have about 700 more words to write today, I can take like half an hour to do some other things that still need to be done. I would really like to get something posted on Instagram today. It's one of the things that I need to get better at. I always say I'm going to post Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and like plan everything in advance. And then I don't do that. So it's Tuesday. I didn't post anything yesterday. So I would like to post something today. What that is, I don't know. This is something that I want to improve. So moving in here has been really great for my concentration, and I'm very cozy on the sofa with my blanket and my dogs. So I'm going to stay here for the foreseeable future. There we go. I have now written my 3,000 words for today. I'm super pleased. It's only 2:45, so I thought it was going to take me all day long. Okay, so I finished the day with 3,018 words, which brings me up to 28,127 words on the second draft. I'm really happy with that. I'm glad that I decided to do a little bit more today than usual since I only got 500 words written yesterday, and as soon as I got myself into the scene, it did start flowing well. It's just a very intense moment between two of the main characters, and I wanted to make sure that it was the right discussion that they needed to be having, but once they started having it, I was on a roll. I think if I can do 2,500 words tomorrow, then I will be back on track with my weekly goal of 10k words on Project Villains, as long as my edits don't come in. And if my edits come in, my focus is going to have to shift to a different project, but I'm very excited to work on those. So I'm happy either way. I either get to work on the second draft of Project Villains or I don't know how many drafts that would be at this point, 6th draft of Project Air, maybe? I'd have to count to see. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be back again with another one next week.